You know what drives him wild? I promise you, this one spot will make him forget his own name. Yet most women never even go near it. It's not where you think, and it's not about what you've seen in movies. In fact, it's so overlooked that when you do this, he'll feel like you've just unlocked a secret code in his mind. Here's the truth. Men aren't just wired for obvious places. They have hidden triggers, small, often ignored, that flip an emotional switch. The spot I'm talking about sits right at the intersection of physical sensation and deep emotional safety. When you touch him here, it's not just about the touch. It's the way it tells him, I see you, I value you, I'm here. Combine that with your eyes locked on his and a playful smile, and you've just planted a memory he won't shake for days. If you're thinking, I need to know exactly where this is and how to do it, stay right here, because I'm going to show you step by step how to make him associate this spot with you, and only you. Have you ever made a man finish so intensely that he almost forgot who he was? Not just a quick release, not just a simple physical reflex. I'm talking about the kind of climax that makes his whole body tremble, that strips away all his control, that makes him feel safe enough to completely let go. Most women have never seen that side of a man, and most men have never allowed themselves to go there, because we've been fed this idea that male pleasure is easy, surface level, and automatic, that if you move your hand fast enough or make enough noise, the job is done. But the truth is, many men are craving a type of pleasure they don't even have the words to ask for. And once you understand it, you will never look at intimacy the same way again. There's one place on his body most women ignore, either because they don't realize it exists, or because they've been told it's off limits. Too delicate, too taboo, too intense. But that very spot is the doorway to a man's deepest, most overwhelming orgasm. It's not just about nerve endings or physical pressure. It's about permission, trust, surrender. And when you know how to awaken that spot with the right touch, the right rhythm, the right energy, he doesn't just feel desire, he feels seen, vulnerable, electrified. That moment will stay with him forever. The technical name is the perineum. It's the sensitive area between the base of his testicles and his anus. It's incredibly responsive, full of nerve endings, and directly connected to the prostate. Stimulation here, when done with skill and patience, can cause full-body climaxes that make regular release feel like a warm-up. But here's the thing. This is not about being rough or wild. It's about deliberate, teasing pressure, and about releasing body-mind. Scarcity nags at us. This is too. It's about energy, presence, and control. You don't just press and wait for a reaction. You build it slowly. You breathe with him. You let him feel you learning his body like it's a new language he never knew he could speak. What makes this spot so powerful isn't just the physical reaction, it's the emotional one. Most men have never had intimacy that allows them to simply receive. They're used to giving, performing, leading, moving. But when you focus on this hidden area, you flip the script. You tell him, without words, this time, you don't have to do anything, just feel. That alone can melt him. It makes him associate pleasure not with control, but with surrender. Of course, this isn't something you rush into. There's an art to it, a rhythm. A slow back and forth between dominance and tenderness. You start by reading him. Is his breathing slowing down? Is his body relaxing? Can you sense him releasing tension? Begin at his inner thighs, brushing upward, letting your touch barely skim the edges of his most sensitive spots. Tease the area just beneath his testicles. Pause there, then pull away, letting his body want more. When the moment feels right, press with the flat of your fingers, not too hard, not too soft, just firm enough to say, I'm here. I know you. What happens next depends on the man. Some will twitch, some will gasp, some will grip the sheets like they're holding on for dear life. Because when this spot is awakened slowly, with certainty, and paired with oral or hand stimulation elsewhere, It can create a climax that flows from the base of his spine through every inch of his body. Some men describe it as a tidal wave, others as a collapse, but almost all of them say the same thing after, "I've never felt that before." The truth is, it's not only about where you touch, it's how you make him feel while you're touching him. This spot is so private, so personal, that the way you handle it shows him exactly how safe he is with you. If you bring tension, he'll resist. If you bring curiosity, warmth, and confidence, he'll melt into your hands. For men, this is not just a physical moment, it's deeply intimate. It's trusting you with the part of them they never show, the part hidden behind years of control, the part that has never been allowed to simply receive. The real climax for a man isn't just release, it's losing himself completely with someone who truly sees him, touches him, loves him, not just for what he can do, but for who he is when all the masks are off. That's what makes this kind of experience unforgettable. That's what makes you unforgettable. And when you combine physical pleasure with emotional safety, he's no longer chasing quick thrills or empty encounters, because suddenly, nothing compares to the way you make him feel in his body and mind. And here's why most men have never known this type of surrender. It's not because they wouldn't want it, but because they've never had a partner bold enough, secure enough, or emotionally tuned in enough to offer it. You can be that woman. The one who doesn't shy away from his depth. The one who doesn't see his pleasure as a button to press, but as a whole world to explore. The one who can say, "I want to take you somewhere you've never been before." Just that promise, said with the right tone, the right energy, the right intention. That's foreplay. That's power. That's unforgettable. So think about it. What makes a man truly lose control in bed? When was the last time someone couldn't stop thinking about you after you were together? Not because you were simply wild, but because you unlocked a part of him no one else dared to reach. That's the effect of knowing how to touch a man's hidden pleasure spot. That's what happens when you stop seeing intimacy as a routine and start seeing it as a ritual. When you stop just giving him pleasure and start owning his body, his mind, and his soul. Most women don't realize this. Men are used to fast release, quick, friction-based, goal-driven moments. They're used to being the one in charge. Most of their satisfaction comes from doing rather than receiving. They lead, they move, they control. And for many, they don't know anything else until they experience something deeper, something slower, something that builds in waves rather than sharp bursts. That's the kind of release that doesn't just flow through their body, but breaks down the emotional barriers they didn't know they had. And it all starts with the place no one's been paying attention to. So how does this actually play out? Picture this. You've already built the tension. You've touched him in all the expected spots. His chest, his thighs, his neck. He's breathing harder, maybe shifting under your touch. Now you slow everything down. You graze the inside of his thighs. Let your nails trace lines there. Let your mouth explore around his base. Just brush the edge of the perineum. He'll freeze for a moment. He might hold his breath, caught between anticipation and surprise. That's your cue. He's never felt anything like this before. The secret here is rhythm. Don't go straight in with strong pressure. Tease him. Circle the area. Get close, then pull away. Let him want more without even saying a word. What you're doing is teaching his body to expect deeper pleasure, building it piece by piece. Then, when you finally apply pressure, whether with the flat of your fingers, the pad of your thumb, or even the tip of your tongue, you move slowly, with intention, and in sync with his breathing. On every exhale, press in just a little more. On every inhale, ease back slightly. Let the sensation move through him like a slow pulse. Let it grow. This isn't just about the physical feeling, it's about what happens next. When you work on the perineum, you're activating nerves connected directly to the prostate. And when you combine that with stimulation on his shaft, the head, or using your mouth, you can trigger what's known as a hands-free orgasm. Yes, you can make a man climax without touching the usual spots, just by building energy there and letting it flood his system. The orgasm he experiences won't be short or sharp. It won't be a quick, shallow release. It will come like a rolling wave, a full body climax that leaves him breathless, shaking, helpless, and completely yours in that moment. That's not just sex, that's leaving an imprint on his memory. Here's the wild part. When a man experiences this kind of release with you, something shifts in his mind. He doesn't just crave the orgasm, he craves you, your energy, your touch, your voice. Because suddenly, intimacy isn't something he does to someone, it's something he shares with someone. You've shown him a new part of himself, a part that isn't about control or performance, a part that simply wants to feel, and you're the person who brought him there. That's why you don't have to be the most experienced. You don't need to be a performer or know every move in the Kama Sutra. You just need presence. You need confidence. You need to be willing to explore the places most women avoid. That's what makes you unforgettable. You're not trying to win him over. You're not trying to impress. You're inviting him to be real, raw, and completely open. And when a man feels safe enough to go there with you, the way he sees both intimacy and you will change forever. Now let's talk about technique for a moment. This area is delicate, but it responds beautifully to steady pressure. Use your palm or the flat of your fingers to press while you're touching him elsewhere. Imagine you're pushing a button slowly, not poking at it. If you're using your mouth, keep one hand underneath and apply gentle, steady pressure to the perineum while your lips and tongue work. If you're on top, lean forward, cup him gently, and let your fingers slide underneath, adding pressure as you move with him. Match the rhythm. Never break it. Let his pleasure build instead of spiking too soon. Pay attention to the changes. Watch how his face shifts, how his legs tense and shake. That's what it looks like when you've tapped into something powerful and personal. And remember, don't rush. Some men will tense up at first. Some will hesitate. That doesn't mean they don't like it. It just means no one's ever gone there with care, patience, and curiosity before. So go slow. Use your voice. Say things like, "I want to feel all of you," or "Let go, I've got you." Words are foreplay too. They're like pressure valves, letting him release tension and drop deeper into the moment. Once he's there, he's yours. Because the orgasm you just gave him is not something he can give himself. It's not something he'll find in a casual encounter. It's unique, emotional, and now tied to you. That's how you become unforgettable. Not just by being sexy, but by being the one who saw him, touched a part of him no one else dared to, and gave him a release that felt less like an explosion and more like his whole body finally letting go of everything he's been holding inside. So I'll ask again, have you ever made a man come so hard he forgot his own name? If not, you're about to. You've just given him that kind of climax, not the quick, friction-based kind he can get from his own hand, not the performance-driven one he's used to chasing. This was different. This one stripped away his control. It made his whole body surrender. It left him trembling, breathing hard, and holding on to you like you were the only thing keeping him grounded. And now comes the part that separates a good lover from the one he'll never stop thinking about. It's what happens after the orgasm that defines the memory. For most men, the moment after is a shutdown. Silence, rolling over, maybe even tension. Why? Because they're not just releasing physically, they're releasing vulnerability. In that moment, all the pressure, the control, the masculine armor, it goes quiet. That's where most people miss the chance. They think it's over, but in reality, that's the most important moment of all. Right after he's finished, his heart is open, his mind is still, and you have the deepest access to his real self. So don't pull away. Don't treat it like a task completed. Stay close, breathe with him, rest your hand on his chest, run your fingers through his hair, hold him, whisper something soft, like "You're safe with me," or "I love making you feel this way." Those words will sink deeper now than at any other time because his defenses are down. His brain is flooded with oxytocin, the bonding hormone. Whether he realizes it or not, he's connecting that feeling of release, that freedom, to you. That's the moment you leave an imprint on his body and mind. And maybe you're thinking, what if this is casual? What if he's not my person? It doesn't matter. This isn't about trapping him or forcing love. This is about understanding how to create real connection through intimacy. When you give him the kind of climax most people shy away from, and you follow it with warmth, presence, and care, you're not just satisfying him, you're seducing his mind. You're creating a loop in his brain that says, this woman is safety, this woman is release, this woman is home. And when a man feels that with you, he'll come back for it. He'll reach out even when he doesn't know why. He'll want to see you again, not just for sex, but because of how he feels in your presence. And you don't have to make it complicated. Sometimes it's just one phrase, one look, one breath. You could say, that was beautiful, or I love watching you come undone, or simply, stay here with me. That last one, that's the one that lands deep. Because every man, deep down, is waiting for someone who makes him feel wanted without having to perform, who can see his raw side, his flaws, his storms, his trembling, and not step back but actually lean closer. That kind of safety is rare, it's sacred, and when you offer it, you give him a kind of sexual experience that isn't just about turning him on. It's the moment he emotionally lets go, the moment that ties him to you. Let me say this clearly. Orgasm is not the finish line. It's the doorway. And most women walk him up to that door but never take him inside. They give him the climax but not the connection. When you give him both, you become unforgettable. Because now it's not just about how his body felt, it's about how his heart felt right after. That's the moment he replays over and over. That's the moment that comes back to him in the shower, while driving, or even in his dreams. That moment of exhale, that feeling of being held, that soft whisper that lingers in his mind long after the sheets have gone cold. And no matter how hard he tries to recreate it with someone else, he won't be able to. Because what you gave him wasn't only an orgasm, it was freedom. So if you want him to want you, not just for your body, but for your energy, don't stop at the climax. Guide him through the afterglow. Stay where most women leave. Love him where others hesitate. Hold him where others disappear. Because once he realizes he can fall apart with you and still be safe, he'll spend the rest of his energy chasing the next time you'll let him. Here's the truth. Sex alone doesn't make a man stay. An orgasm isn't what bonds him. And the real pleasure spot? It isn't just between his legs. The true pleasure spot, the one that leaves him addicted, the one that makes him want you and only you, isn't physical, it's psychological. It's the feeling you create around intimacy. It's the emotional atmosphere, the permission you give him to feel, to let go, to come, not only with his body, but with his soul. When a man meets a woman who reaches that level, who makes him feel safe, wanted, respected, and seen, in the same moment she's turning him on, that's the woman he can't forget. That's the woman he thinks about, even when he's with someone else. And here's what many women don't see. When you mix physical skill with emotional awareness, when you know exactly how to make him lose control and also make him feel completely safe while he's lost, when you unlock his most private, hidden nerve endings and still make him feel strong, you don't just satisfy him, you transform him. You change the meaning of intimacy for him, because he's never had a woman be both his fantasy and his refuge, his fire and his calm. And once he experiences that, he can't go back to anything less. So let's come full circle. Let's talk about his real pleasure spot, the one beyond his ego, the one most women never think to touch. Yes, his prostate is part of it. It's physical, but also deeply psychological. It's the place where his body betrays his pride, where control slips and dominance melts into surrender. And yes, that's terrifying for many men, but it's also where the deepest release lives. When you go there, you're not just giving him physical pleasure, You're asking him to trust. You're inviting him into a level of surrender most men never reach, even alone. And if you hold that space with love, power, and deep presence, you become the first person to show him his full capacity for pleasure. And he will never forget that. But you don't even have to go there to reach his soul. His truest pleasure spot, the one that stays with him, is emotional openness. It's being naked in a way he's never allowed himself to be. It's hearing, "I love how open you are with me," instead of, "Are you done yet?" It's moaning without being judged, crying without being mocked, trembling without having to explain why. And if you're the woman who can turn him on while also turning him inward, you won't just give him the best sex he's ever had. You'll give him the first time intimacy has ever truly mattered to him. Because real connection doesn't just make his body release, it makes his soul feel alive. Stop chasing his attention by only trying to be attractive. Stop performing to impress him. Focus on creating impact. Give him something no other woman has dared to give. Not just an orgasm, but transformation. And you don't do that by having the fanciest moves. You do it by being the only one who understands what those moves mean. Show him that he can fall apart and still feel strong. Show him that vulnerability is not weakness, it's power. That his pleasure isn't something to be embarrassed about, it's something sacred. That with you, he's not just getting physical release, he's getting freedom. Once you give that to him, he'll never just want you, he'll crave you, he'll need you. And for the rest of his life, he'll wonder, how did she know me so deeply when no one else ever tried? That is your power. That is the pleasure spot you touch. Not with your hands, not with your mouth, but with your presence, your energy, and your fearless emotional connection. And once you own that, he won't just come for you. He'll keep coming back to you in his heart and mind, over and over again. He will keep returning in his thoughts, in his fantasies, in his quiet moments when no one is watching. You become the place he runs to in his mind when the world feels too heavy. The person he remembers not just for how you touched his skin, but for how you touched his spirit. That kind of imprint doesn't fade. It doesn't get replaced by a prettier face or a younger body. It becomes part of the standard he holds every other connection against. And most will never meet it, because what you gave him wasn't a performance. It was truth. And truth stays. It lingers. In the way he remembers your eyes when you looked at him like you weren't in a rush, like there was nowhere else you'd rather be. It lives in the sound of your voice when you whispered something meant only for him, something that went past his body and straight to the part of him he hides from the rest of the world. That's why he can't let it go, because it wasn't just physical hunger you satisfied, it was emotional hunger. And that's the kind of hunger that doesn't go away after one night, 1 week, or even years. When a man experiences that, you stop being just a lover in his story. You become a chapter he keeps rereading. He may try to move on, to distract himself with someone new, but there will always be a moment, sometimes in the middle of the night, sometimes in the middle of someone else's kiss, when he feels the absence of what you gave him. And he will know deep down